So honored to be here. So Yogesh Rao, when I had a cataract surgery yesterday, he said you have to come. Whether you get infection or not, you have to come. So I'm here. But I think we're honored to be here. And I know a lot of friends here whom I know. Within I used to be director, Srinivas Reddy is very dynamic guy. And I know Anand Bharat, all the people, quite a lot of people. I want to tell the history because we are one of the earliest biotech company in the country. After Shalka Biotech, we are the second one in the country, biotech company. So I've seen this transition of biotechnology, what happens, and I'll tell you my story of biotech park and incubator concept way back 1994. Many people doesn't know. A lot of them retired. A lot of them died also. A lot of them still doesn't know what happened behind the game of all these things. When I was, I'm alma mater from University of Wisconsin, Madison. I saw their incubator and their biotech park was one of the successful projects in the US. So I met the chancellor, University of Wisconsin. I said, we need to do something in India like that. And I said that, okay, we are ready. So we signed an MOU as an individual, no company. I signed. And we partnered with the University of Wisconsin chancellor and all that. There's a time the Andhra N.T. Ramarao was supposed to come to Chicago for a meeting. We didn't make it. We left it out. In 1994, Honorable Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha came to the UN meeting in New York. So I went with laptop, I gave a presentation to him. How biotech park can incubate, can catalyze the growth of India's growth. So I told him, he asked me simple, he listened almost 30 minutes. You see how leaders are very powerful. It's a very good example. You listen all 30 minutes. Krishna, what do you want? I know you want land for biotech park. Simple question. You know land? Central government cannot give. Only state government can give. So I was a fool, wasting all my time to think, giving a brief on the whole biotech park. Such a short answer. Then he said immediately, he told his PS secretary, Krishna was there. He told Krishna get Dr. Krishna Ella introduced to Mani Sharma and DBT, secretary that time. So I came, after 3-4 months, I came to India, started 95 sometime, and met the Mani Sharma. I said, biotech park should come. And she's alive, so I think you can ask her also. So you can ask her what the story of 95. Then she said, again, I cannot give a land. I don't have any land. So I can put up all the, but that has to be given as well. So then I went to Bangalore. In Bangalore, I'm an alma mater from the agriculture student from the University of Agricultural Science, Bangalore. So I'm not a vaccine guy. I'm not a immunology guy. I'm basically an agriculture guy. So I went to the University of Agricultural Science. We signed an agreement with US Bangalore to set up biotech park. And then we went to Chief Minister. At the time, R.B. Patel or somebody. Patel was the Chief Minister. In the afternoon, he was not in a good mood. I mean, he was fully in a good intoxication by afternoon. He said, I don't understand what is biotechnology, not bullshit at last. Okay, whoa. So University of Agricultural Science, we respect Secretary, Biotech, Agriculture Minister, all policies. We put everything in Bangalore. And almost biotech park allotment land is allotted in Agriculture University, both incubator and Agriculture University. Suddenly controversy started. The agricultural land is given off to people. Controversy started. And the controversy started, then okay, said, it's not going to happen now. Let me get out. I set up a Bharat. I said, if I'm going to go in this board, I'm going to be bankrupt, I'm going to be jobless. So let's set up into Bharat, and I set up in 96, 97. 97, set up a banking firm, Bharat. Happened to land in Hyderabad, which I'm not from this place. I'm originally from Chennai. So I landed here, set up Bharat. 99, me and Vasi Reddy, Vimtala, who's there here, alive, now he's there, Vimtala, Vasi Reddy. Vimtala and me, we both went to Andhra Pradesh Assembly. We gave a talk on how biotech park should come up in Hyderabad, how Genome Valley should come up. 99, Devendra Gaur was the revenue minister, and I think Sridhar was the revenue secretary. And So we gave an assembly presentation back in Park. Devendra Gowda was very kind enough. He said he liked it. He said, we want to Charlapalli, we want to propose in Charlapalli, this part of the city. He said, no, I want to do it in my constituency. My constituency where Thorokapalli, where Valley is there. I want to set up there. That is where we can go. I mean, the history is later that Chandra Knight appointed me as a sort of advisor how to build Genome Valley. I talked to Sheila Bedi at that time, Acharya, who was also instrumental in coming out of the incubator in Hyderabad, Genome Valley. So we proposed the entire Genome Valley cluster should come up and all that. But I was busy with Biotech, so then Sheila, Shapoorji Palaji took over the Biotech part, which I said, I don't want to get into the infrastructure, let me get off, because everything is sketchy, the projects. So got off. We set up that one. I think today now you see the history of Genome Valley, how 94 started the concept, how it built the whole thing. And thanks to Dr. Bond, who was there as a secretary, he's a good friend of mine. And he was also a partner in our rotavirus project for the last 33 years. From 99 onwards, he was a partner on the rotavirus project. So he said, I told him, why is the startups are not happening in this country? That was way back when he just took over as a secretary. I said, you treat us as an enemy. The startups, private entrepreneurship is treated like enemy. Governments are stagnating. They're all, like a Brahmins and we're all Shudras. Startups. That is not right for the country. You need to build the culture of startups in this country. So that's how we work with NIH to promote SBR grant, R01 grant type things. We build that concept with the Bond's mind. And I position that to build that SBR grant concept. That is how the startup can fund. Then he said, the DBT cannot do it, the private funding. Let's set up a new venture, new mechanism how to fund this startup, because the DBT cannot fund directly because we get into controversy. So that's how the Biotech started existing, and they put it Biotech and created the whole structure of the startup. And I think today country has done extremely well in setting up a startup culture and incubators, and I think many are incubators here, and I think the incubators what I would envisage for the today and the future for the 30 years. So, what is the future can be created? I think startup is going to be key for the innovation of the world. You look at US, Europe, who creates innovation? It's not the multinational. No multinational creates innovation in the world. They have perception. You have perception that multinationals won't create. They have too much cash. When you have too much cash, no innovation will come out. A starving fund only can come out with innovation. And only startup can do that innovation. The startups are acquired afterwards over the mergers and acquisition happens. And in the process, that is how you build the innovation culture. The problem what we see in India right now, that I have seen in the last, so many committees and watching all that, what is happening. The startups are also facing problems. Incubators are also facing a problem. Incubators have become more like a real estate model, which is not good. And I think these real estate models should be, if it goes, and I think, see, how do you build, you need to.
One thing, all incubators managers should look at it. At least 10% of my incubatees are successful as a venture. I get the best out of it. You can put a successful model. What is the success? What do you get for that benefit for them? You can create that, not a problem. Okay, sorry. You can create a model, what in a successful startup, after, you made some 100 crores revenue, what you want to be shared to the incubators is you can put a structure. But the problem, what we are seeing is, how do I get rent immediately, day one? So that model is not right, because you're still treating in a startup as the leaseholder or renter, renting a building, which I think you need to change mindset. Please keep in mind, any startup successful, every one of you as a manager, incubators manager, okay, their children, your children are going to be too entrepreneur tomorrow. Keep that in mind. If you don't create that policy issues right from the day one, we have a mental problem in India. Somebody makes money, we become jealous. Some scientists, he published some paper, we are jealous. That scientific fear competition, we should get out of it. We need to look at it a strategic angle. How do we compete with globally? So I was there in Srinivas Reddy, we are there in one of the committees in CS Accounting Council, and we talked about how China has done it. China, $430 billion. They invest in a public-private partnership. $430 billion on science and technology. They took a 5 or 6 strategic thinking. Very 5 strategic strategy. One was the EV chemical, and the second is the gene therapy, CRISPR, and AI, and the robotic. They have taken that portion, that 5-6 field we put, $430 billion been put, and ensured every company set up their own R&D within the campus of the campus. Within the Peking University, or Beijing University, or Shanghai, whatever the university, they forced them to set up their building in the campus itself. So that is how the public-private partnership is moved to that game, so that the industrial R&D people works with academic and build for the country's strategic angle. We don't have that. We are only looking at for money for money is the only criteria. I think Indians always want only first money. So I think after that we talk about all other things. I think we have to get out of that mindset. Today money is not important. The country's angle, society angle, how do we compete globally is important, science and technology. And if we don't compete that, we are out. Our next generation will not stay in this country. It is now moving to US and Europe and Canada and all that. Now the migrations will start to China. And I've seen, actually in China, I was there 5-6 years back, I saw thousands of engineering graduates working in some of the coil manufacturing companies. I looked at shocked. So they're all hired because they're English speaking. They're for QC and QA angle. They're hiring the Indian engineers. So there's total migrations will happen if these don't create our jobs right in this country, not their infrastructure. So I will tell you one good example. Incubators should really drive the passion of driving the state government. If you are united, you can do it. But the problem again, Indian, we are not united. We only united when we have a drink in the evening dinner time. But next day morning, we are not together. When somebody asks, you will give some story. That fellow is useless. You will tell something. The other fellow, the fellow who is listening, he collects information both sides and he makes a judgment that both are bad. That we are not realizing that. That's how politicians tells me all the story, how two scientists gives 2 different opinions. We are not consent on one. Even whether CIA or FICCI, all these people are not united what the country needs. 1-2 important decisions that can be made. What is that my message for the incubators will be, look at the biotech startups. A startup, I gave a presentation to the principal scientific advisor at Sood, and then about 14 or 15 secretaries were there. All the DBT, DST, CSIR, DRDO, all the secretaries were there. About 15 secretaries, just about 3 months ago. How regulatory is killing this country's science and technology. How the regulatory is killing the startups. I'll give an example, because you all don't want to, your startups are there with you, you are not understanding their problem. Or you understand the problem, but you don't want to solve the problem. Because you are worried about the rent, you are worried about against talking against BIRAC or DBT. Both are against, because you are also funded by DBT. You are also funded by BIRAC. So therefore, you are scared of talking anything negative. So when a principal scientific advisor asked me to give a presentation on the regulatory, what happens, I said, I was a startup in 97. I myself being a startup. As a startup, we saved the country's foreign exchange at least $10 billion of saving for this country as a startup. What we have done as one individual, one company, we saved whether rotavirus, typhoid conjugate, first time in the innovation in the world, chikungunya, all those vaccines, you look at it, we saved the foreign exchange of at least minimum $10 billion. Even COVID time, look at the COVID. If the $100 is a vaccine you have to buy, just imagine what would be the cost for the government of India will be. One startup, when I am one startup can do for this country, okay, you have 200 startups in this country successful, what can be an impact at a bigger scale? That is how to envisage. So I will tell you regulatory. In India, for animal toxicology, you all agree with me, Mrityunjay, animal toxicology, RCGM is controlled? RCGM has got 25, 27 member. Maybe Mrityunjay was also one day was a member maybe. And some people may be member here in RCGM also. I don't mind. Okay. So what happens? You have to make a protocol and you have to make a 3 GMP lots. And 3 GMP lots, you tell me how many startups has got GMP facility? Ask simple question. No. You want 3 GMP lots and 3 months stability, okay? And then protocol submission for animal toxicology, 3 animals, whereas WHO recommends 1 animal, 28 days toxicology. And I'll tell you US FDA regulation later. You look at the Indian regulation and 3 GMP lots and 3 months stability, your preclinical toxicology takes 3 years. Exactly 3 years. Completing preclinical toxicology, completing and then getting into phase 1 trial. It's 3 years. Whereas in US, it takes exactly less than 3 months. In US, 3 months to 3 years. And I'll tell you an example in US FDA. We have done one US FDA phase 1 trial in US. It all took everything completed phase 1, everything in less than 7-8 months. So the US FDA says you can produce the GLP material, not GMP. Please keep in mind, one GLP material. And they want 90% pure. Whereas RCGM demands 99.9% pure protein. You see the logic of thinking of RCGM, thinking 99.9% pure protein for animal toxicology. Whereas US FDA says 90% pure is okay because if you have contamination is there, in the 10% contamination, should pick up the toxicology in the animal. When you are doing regular manufacturing production, if some contamination is there from the process, that should be picked up in the animal toxicology. You see the rational thinking of that? We have 99.9% pure protein. And the same scientists who are the committee members will never produce 99% pure protein. But they're sitting in the committees. And they're controlling the science of this country. Which is not right for the country and even for you incubators to succeed. If these startups, if 3 years is taking preclinical toxicology, just imagine the cash burn for a startup. In 3 years, which takes 8 months to complete a preclinical toxicology in another country, you lost the whole game of competition globally. You lost. And some companies, I know at least 8 or 9 companies, they shifted R&D to Singapore. They shifted R&D to London. And some other, Netherlands also. So why do you waste your time? 3 years of cash burn for a startup is a huge, because their capital is very less. They are running with 50 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 50 lakhs and all that. With that money, they have to pay rent, they have to pay electricity, they have to pay salary, and they have to take care of these regulatory hurdles of this much time. And I think, you all should be united as incubators, should brainstorm first these policy issues. You need to think the country's angle. First, forget about your selfishness of, I don't want to talk anything against DBT, otherwise I lose 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. Trust me, I'm telling you, for losing 30 lakhs, you're losing the future of this country, which is not right. Which is not right. I think, I think my friend is also came, Bharat also, he also knows about my issue. So, see, as a company, established company like us, we are happy to have the regulation so that no startups will come again competing with me. As a selfish person, as an entrepreneur, I'm happy to have that regulation so that no startups will survive in this country. So I think all incubators should fight for the regulatory policy changes in the country. Whether it is a DBT, RCGM, or it is an Animal Ethical Committee, or it is CDSO, all the committees. We have more committees than policy decisions in this country. And I think we need to think about you people as today you are in a good situation. Honestly, I'm telling you, you are not having a pressure. You may have pressure how much rent I can show to the management. That's not worth it, I'm telling you. That's not worth it life. Giving a small money, 1 crore, 2 crores to extra to the management is not the game you should be playing. You should be visionary. Every manager, every head of that CEO of that incubator should be visionary. Sacrifice your life little bit. Not your person's life, but sacrifice something for the sake of the country, for the first state of startups to survive. And I think, if these sort of policy decisions made, when you have predictable regulatory system in place, take my word, every private equity, every venture capital will flow automatically. When I asked the private equity people, I said, I don't even know what your policy decisions in this country is. Is it something for you possible phase 1 trial in 6 months? Is it a possible? I don't mind taking investment. I will take a risk and put the money on the table. But I'm not sure. Yours is so unpredictable system in the country, I cannot put any more money. I at least more than 20, 30 private equity people, venture capital people I know. The India partner, who is a venture capital right here in Hyderabad, they said, I don't want to put any biotechnology. I want to put it in, the IT, digital health, all those sort of things. And now they're talking about old age people, homes and all that. So that extent they're going. I think we need to change. I think, every manager of that, ask the state government. For incubators, no electricity charges. They're giving to farmers free electricity in this country. This is ridiculous. In this country, farmers is important. I'm not denying that, please. I'm a farming fellow. I want farmers also to get a free. But why not startup also to get a free power? I think this is where you need to fight. Yes, Indians are very good in clapping. That's a problem. We're all politicians. We're all good politicians. 140 billion people, 1.4 billion people, all are politicians. I think some gene is mutated in this country over 100, 200 years. So every gene has got a political mind. I talk to everyone, everybody's a political mind. It's a very strategic political mind. I think leave all this thing apart. We need to be force. You get me on 30 incubators, CEOs. Sit with me. I will tell you the strategy, what should be done for the country. Think about country first. Think about startup to succeed. If they don't succeed, your children will not succeed. Take my word. Your children will not succeed. When I was sitting at my dinner table, I was talking so much India, cultural, India innovated zero, India steel industry innovated. Ink is what he was writing with the ink pen. Hey, my son, listen, that ink is done by Indians in innovated. I tell all those things. Dad, don't tell me too much about India. Then why is India still a developing country for the last 200 years, 100 years? Why still country is a developing country? Why I had to go to US? Why did you go to US at all for studies? You asked me a simple, straight question to me. So I think, the time has come for all of us to join together. One goal. How do we do startups to succeed in this country? If startup succeeds, innovation succeeds automatically. No innovation, nobody teaches in a classroom. If your policies are very critical, very scientific, and very rational, we are not asking to compromise on us. Suddenly when I ask some regulatory to ease up, one of the regulatory guys tells his secretary, no sir, we will sacrifice the safety of the people. You mean to say, who will sacrifice the safety of the people in this world? Which startup will do that? Hurting somebody? Nobody will do that. But that political mind of a scientist immediately spoiling somebody's mind. You see how we work together as a country? If I talk here, 50% will say Dr. Krishna Ella is good. No, why? 25% will say Krishna Ella is good. 75% will say he is bad, he's a crook. That's how our minds are. We don't look at it society angle. We look at a personal angle. And that we should get out of it. We should look at it society angle, how the startups can survive. Please think that your children, government, we should ask the state government. Don't ask cheap things. You go and ask for money. The government doesn't want to give money because government wants money now. Now politicians are asking us, industry now, penalizing us. My constitution is there. Under CSR fund, you can't take care of my constituency. So that pressure we have right now as industry. 10 ministers are calling, each state is calling, take care of my constituency. I'll give it to my constituency to you. But I will contest election, but you take care of the remaining all the things. So don't ask money. You ask intangible things. Ask for electricity free. All startups will free. GST free. Because your service is GST service tax. Am I right? So you should ask for elimination of that. See, we have followed in GST, we are setting up Odisha Biotech Park in Bhubaneswar. We have fought with the government and we got a wonderful policy. We said every woman who works for an intern for 5 years, the government will pay 15,000 rupees. For a man, 13,000 rupees. 1-3. So very good discrimination right there. Okay? So men is going to be more discriminated hereafter. So it's good actually. See, because the major in the biotechnology sector, 50% is woman force. We need to get them into the inclusivity in the working force. That's a good policy. We proposed actually. I mean, Mrityunjay is there. So we passed a gazette notification, 15,000, so that now you have to think as incubator managers, how I can integrate that into the startup culture, build a skill set. You need to think innovative way now. So now that there is a lot of money for a skill set available. Now I'm going to recruit somebody, give it to the startup company. That startup fellow will be subsidized by the government program and a skill development program. So you are achieving two things. One, startup gets a subsidized manpower. Number two, the skill set of that candidate who has graduated MSc Biotechnology, who has got only paper degree, not a skill set, you automatically build the skill set with him. These are the intangible things you should fight for with the government. Otherwise, we are not going to succeed. And we have set up a food park in Bangalore. The reason we set up food park, how do you bring innovative ideas in food? So I'm a chairman of CFTRI and NIST and all that. I've seen where we lead to food science. Because the next problem is going to come is food security for the global. Food security is one of the major thing you're going to see. Inflation is going to drive, the climate change is going to change, and the number of people working in the agriculture is going to go down. All of the things are going to change the game, and the food security is going to be a major game. And India can play major player in the food security. Because we are the only country which has got 365 days sunlight. No other country has got sunlight 365 days. So we can make changes that can happen for global food security point of view. So what policy is required? That we need to think. And medical devices, is a medical device easier technology? Because it's a less regulatory issue, that's why medical devices succeeded, some partly. Whereas biotechnology, we are not able to succeed because of the choking of some of the regulatory systems. And please, all incubators, managers, please, at least 10, 15 managers, join together a strategic thinking. What is that you should do for next 1 year? Because we don't plan 5 years, please. All of our life is 5 years, we are not sure whether we are going to be alive or not. Okay? You know, India government always thinks 5 years, 20 years, 30 years. All bullshit. There's no value now anymore. The science is changing. Science is rapidly changing. You know, I've been telling the structural biology, you know, I gave a talk in University of Hyderabad, how the structural biology is changing the science. You see how structural biology got Nobel Prize now. DeepMind, artificial intelligence. They say 200,000 protein, with artificial intelligence, they solve the protein structure. You don't need a crystallography now. Whole thing changed, field. The structural biology is going to try it today as a vaccine company. I feel that I'm already outdated now. How do I bring the structural biology into the vaccine field, into the enzyme companies, and into monoclonal antibodies? How this whole thing is going to change? You see now, next 2 years, whole science is going to change of structural biology and artificial intelligence. How that is going to have an impact on what type of protein. You're going to make some recombinant enzyme for a structure for the textile industry or whatever it. You're going to see a different structural biology of that get in, which is thermostable, which is going to catalyze at 1/100th of the quantity of the protein. Everything is going to change, science. Whatever people are making monoclonal antibody, they're producing, they're happy with 1 gram. Now I come out a company from California, is coming at 10 grams. They put a chaperone gene in CHO cell line, and they made it, because when you have a high expression 10 grams, you get an aggregation of the protein. So to prevent the aggregation, they put a chaperone gene, and so that aggregation is prevented. See how science is moving? And all structural biology leading into. So please think about the science is rapidly changing. Your startup culture also is rapidly changed. For that, what is the regulatory policy, financial policy, and government policies are required? That is the 3-4 policies. If you work strategically, you are going to do the greatest service to the country. Please keep in mind, you are the major pillar right now. It is not that I'm telling you because I like you people. I don't like you people actually in any case. Because you are rented, you rent people. So therefore I don't like you. But You are the instrumental for this country, that you can create what can be done for the country through startup, through government, through society. A problem is there in a society. Ask that problem taken by a startup. See that the startup solves the problem of that country. I was telling Kerala government, I was there with the Kerala about 3 weeks back. Kerala government called me. They started some, like this, another program, big program in Kerala, and a biotechnology program. So I told the minister, I said, set up a skill university. He said, immediately announced it. And he also told him, I said, your biotech policy, you do one thing, one vaccine. You make it, solve the problem of Kerala. Nipah is a problem. I'll help you, Nipah vaccine. You make it happen, create a success, so that your biotech policy makes it meaningful for the state. You create a success, so that common people who are there in the society get a trust in the science. You need to create a common people to get trust in our Indian science and technology. That to create, so Kerala government, I was there putting a policy issues discussion. So I told them, I said, let us solve the Nipah problem of Kerala, where your tourism is going to be hurt. If the Nipah increases, it's giving a signal. One day it will be erupted. When it erupts, the whole your tourism will get destroyed. So let's plan. So he said, I told the minister was convinced. He said, I am ready to put resources for this. Solving Nipah problem by Kerala government itself. Not federal government, not the central government. Solved by state government itself. So they're taking decisions like that. So like that, every state can do something for that. Make a success story. You are the pillars for the country. And I'm telling you, I wish you all the best. Great science, but think policy. Don't have lunches and dinners, but strategic discussion. Good luck to all of you. Thank you very much.